Well, I really didn't think that I was going to be making a third video in a row about Zohran Mamdani's poor decisions leading up to his mayoralship? I don't know. He made another really bad decision, although I guess none of us are really surprised at this point at his lack of smart decisions. This one really takes the cake for basically just laughing and spitting in our faces as New Yorkers, because he announced he will be hiring a man who did 7 years in prison for armed robbery. And he's hiring him to advise on public safety and prison reform. Yeah, let me say that again, okay? He's hiring an ex-con with a violent past to shape how this city will handle crime and how they will keep everybody safe. You know, just when you thought that this couldn't become more of a circus, he really just keeps going. He just keeps going. And I've already made my 2 videos this week about his poor decisions. And I also showed these videos that highlight the dangers of living in New York City when the system is soft on crime and are constantly releasing criminals back onto the street.
This morning at 9:20 a.m. walking to class on Broadway off of Waverly Place where that Fresh & Co is. And as I'm walking with my headphones on listening to music, I feel something slap me so hard, literally on my ass, so hard. And I was oh my god, ow, that hurts so bad. And I was I thought it was one of my friends. So I was gonna turn around and be ow, that hurt so bad, why did you do that? But when I turned around, I just saw this old white guy, and right when I turned around, he grabbed my fucking hair like this and yanked me and threw me to the ground. My headphones went fucking flying, and I was just on the ground, and I saw him just bolt away down Waverly, and I was holy shit, what the fuck just happened? This group of girls are so nice. They came up to me and they were they helped me up. They're are you okay?
Okay, so as of Monday, December 8th, Zohran Mamdani announced that his transition team is picking Misan Linen, a rapper and an activist known as General, to lead his prison reform and safety initiatives. Okay? Linen had served 7 years in prison for armed robbery. This is a serious felony. This isn't even light criminal activity. This is a felony. And he went to jail for 7 years. He also admitted that he had a pill addiction, which fueled his crime sprees. And okay, fair enough. He turned his life around. He became a rapper and an activist. But is that out of goodwill? Is that out of moral character and reshaping his values? Or is that out of a place of realizing that becoming an activist as far back as 2020 and even before that was slowly promising to be a very lucrative business? So you wouldn't have to rob banks or rob people if you became a BLM activist, because we all know that BLM siphoned millions and millions of dollars and paid for mansions and nice cars. So it's hard to really distinguish what the motivation factors are for someone like this to become an activist. BLM was a fraud. They stole millions of dollars from people. So I don't know why, just because this man has been an activist for BLM, that we should consider him reformed. To me, it just sounds like the type of crime has changed to something that has been more acceptable by liberals. And not only did Mamdani hire him for 1 committee, he's placing him on 2. One for public safety and the other for criminal legal systems. This is the team that handles how to budget and direct cops, jails, and generally New Yorkers' safety. Mamdani said that Linen has lived experience, which makes him perfect for the job. So he's basically arguing that people who've been through the system know how to fix it best. Okay, maybe there's some credibility to that point, but if you're gonna bring in someone who's been through the system, why are we bringing somebody who served 7 years for a violent felony?
We learned that America is still white supremacist based. The theories of white supremacy is still the foundation of America. That's just the bottom line. And that means that white men rule. White men are only the people to rule. We've tricked our own people to believe that. We've tricked every other nationality because it's Stockholm Syndrome. You've seen white men in positions of power so long that you cannot change it.
Lived experience. It makes me wonder, is he going to appoint a transgender man to make decisions on behalf of women in New York City because they have lived experience as a woman? And this man who says that white supremacy is to blame for everything went to jail for armed robbery of taxi drivers. Zohran Mamdani ran his campaign on the fact that he raised a bunch of money and won a lawsuit for taxi drivers here in New York City. There was that stupid staged video of him running over to a cab driver to shake his hand.
Thank you. You will win, man. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother.
Did you already vote?
Yes.
Yet you're hiring a guy who robbed 2 different taxi drivers at gunpoint. And I'm sorry, but what are the numbers of white taxi drivers in New York City? Is it the white man's fault that this man, Lennon, decided to rob non-white people? And is that the expertise that we need to, basically test the waters and treat this like an experiment when New York is already dealing with skyrocketing amount of assaults and repeat offenders on their streets? Mamdani is literally treating this like an experiment, a social experiment, except we have 8 million people living in the city whose lives are going to be at risk as when he plays God. Do we really think that sending social workers to situations like these is going to help keep women and generally anyone in New York City safe?
My train ride in NYC.
Say it to my face now. Say it to my face now. Tell me to take a chill pill. Say the word chill pill.
Oh.
Say the word chill pill.
Oh.
And on top of this, we saw that in certain reports of this addition to Mamdani's administration, they were misspelling Lennon's name. And there is no concrete evidence as to why this was happening, but my personal hypothesis is that when you botch someone's name like this, it's harder to find and sift through the noise on Google and X. And to avoid early scrutiny, you confuse the public on the proper spelling. And let's not forget that he also, or at least his administration, also misspelled another controversial pick, Lumumba Bandele. So why are they incapable of spelling the names of people that they're placing on their committees? I don't know. It doesn't scream transparency, though. So let's talk about some of these contradictions here, because in this past week, we saw Mamdani putting out all of these fancy marketing campaigns telling people how to know their rights when dealing with ICE, saying that ICE is really this cruel, anti-human group of people that we should fight against. The people that are dealing with a lot of violence in New York City are just everyday people that have to walk the streets and take public transit here. It's really not people running into ICE. There might be a handful of situations with ICE, but we're talking a ratio of 10 to 1, if not higher, when we talk about the actual dangerous everyday situations that New Yorkers are put in by other New Yorkers and not ICE. If people want to make the argument that criminals can be reformed and rejoin and become successful in society, that is one thing. But reforming them, and then having them lead one of the most important committees in one of the most populated cities in the world. It's just, you're trying to prove a point more than you actually want to help anyone, okay? And we all see it. The risk of putting this guy in charge who could potentially be an example of somebody who turned their life around, or could potentially be an example of a perfect con who knows exactly how to con the situation and the pathetic liberals around him to make money so that he doesn't have to do it through armed robbery. The problem is that it could be either of those. And Zoran is willing to take the chance on 8 million people's lives just so he can seem like this really virtuous leader. I just can't even believe this. This is like, how does somebody even, like, how do you even get to this point? Anyways, guys, this is pure, unadulterated, woke insanity at the risk of innocent people's lives. And it's just, it's reckless and it's disgusting. Let me know what you think. I mean, at this point, the circus is just getting crazier. And I don't even know what to expect next week, but this is a FAFO situation, and everyone in New York is about to find out. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe out there.